Welcome back once again. Bola Ahmed Tinubu, being the president of this particular country, has been urged to release Nnamdi Kanu unconditionally. As we speak, Ejimakor, Nnamdi Kanu's lawyer, came out and revealed a very significant truth regarding Nnamdi Kanu's incarceration and his continued stay in Sokoto prison. At this point in time, Nnamdi Kanu has been in Sokoto prison, and remember, his health was deteriorating as at when he was actually convicted under a repeal law by Justice James Omotosho. Now, Bola Ahmed Tinubu has been urged. Remember, a lot of others, remember the monarch who went as far as speaking directly to Bola Ahmed Tinubu to release Nnamdi Kanu, or probably send him back to Kenya where he was renditioned without a law, and as well renditioned under violating international treaty. As we speak, Ejimakor came out recently and made a very significant statement, and that statement Ejimakor made shows that Nnamdi Kanu is sincerely suffering as we speak in Sokoto prison. Nobody knows what Nnamdi Kanu is passing through. Do you know what it means as we speak? This is just getting to 4 months Nnamdi Kanu is in custody, and yet some other persons are moving freely. As a matter of fact, it is not as though Nnamdi Kanu is to be compared with Sunday Igboho, but Sunday Igboho, who agitated for Yoruba Nation, is now a card carrier member of the APC. I'm going to be showing you what Ejimakor stated and what a lot of persons have reacted regarding the urging of Bola Ahmed Tinubu to do the needful by releasing Nnamdi Kanu and making Southeast to be among the choosing region. Before I do that, listen attentively to this particular video where this, prominent man came out recently and stated that Bola Ahmed Tinubu, as a matter of urgency, should release Nnamdi Kanu, that he thought that Nnamdi Kanu must have even been released before now. Watch the video, and when we come back, we'll continue.
The Igbos have been agitating injustice done to them. I'll come to that later.
Okay.
And then Nnamdi Kanu is imprisoned, or was imprisoned. All Tinubu, I thought, would have done to ensure even that wisdom of Erickson at 65 was to find a way to release this Nnamdi Kanu. Even say, hey, you can go back to Britain. We don't need you in Nigeria, but please, release, go home, and bring unity, and bring the Igbos, and integrate the Igbos. I love what the NPA...
Wouldn't that mean like exiling him, sending him to exile? If you say, well, you can go back to UK, but we don't want you here.
Well, wound takes time to heal.
Okay.
You don't just create a wound today and it heals tomorrow, the next day. So there's a lot of acrimony and rancor and stories following Nnamdi Kanu and his activities and every other thing. So let that wound heal gradually. Go back to London.
So how would that? Okay. So you think that releasing him and asking him to go to London is one way that the wound, the injustice better out to the Igbo nation could heal, especially regarding the incarceration and sentencing of Nnamdi Kanu.
You see, whatever is happening in Igbo land today, as regards IPOB, is tied around Nnamdi Kanu. The demonstration in London is tied around Nnamdi Kanu. And at 65, Tinubu is not, looking for something else to achieve.
Okay.
But just to give wisdom.
Okay, all right.
So wisdom calls for Nnamdi Kanu to be released. Give him whatever condition. Let him go.
Welcome back once again. I believe you've listened attentively to his opinion, stating that Nnamdi Kanu should be released and probably be sent back to where he was renditioned from, because this man has suffered a lot. And as we speak, Ejimakor visited Nnamdi Kanu recently, and he found out that Nnamdi Kanu is on chains in Sokoto prison. And as you could see on your screen, this is the pictorial view, and that is the more reason why Ejimakor went as far as making this particular clear statement on his verified X handle. As you could see, Ejimakor, he stated, "For avoidance of doubt, Ndi Igbo remains solidly behind Nnamdi Kanu. The chains on his wrists are chains on the wrist of every Igbo. He is the single factor that unifies Ndi Igbo in this era. That said, when time comes for reckoning of things, good or bad, Ndi Igbo will remember." Ejimakor is trying to tell both the Igbos and lovers of freedom and everybody that Nnamdi Kanu is suffering like somebody, like a savior that is suffering for the region. And as he has rightly stated, that the wrist of the chains on his hand will actually vindicate the just. At this point, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is facing serious marginalization in Sokoto Correctional Center. Remember, his appeal is about to be adhered. On the very moment when the judges will present the date of appeal, they will get to court to defend Mazi Nnamdi Kanu under the fact that he was actually convicted under a repeal law. As if that is not enough, for you to see that all Aloy Ejimakor has stated is actually what is manifesting. Recently, Bola Ahmed Tinubu visited the United Kingdom and he had a memorandum of understanding with the government over there where they signed what we call a £747 million deal that has to do with the rehabilitation and the rearrangement of Lagos Port deal. And as we speak, as you could see on your screen, Ohaneze Ndibo came out recently and countered that particular move. As you could see, Ohaneze Council condemns UK Nigeria £747 million Lagos Port deal, alleges marginalization of Southeast. These were the things Mazi Nnamdi Kanu clamored for. That it is quite unbelievable that this particular region called Southeast does not have a tangible seaport. It is not as if they don't have the facility to carry out these things, but because of the marginalization, they don't want to bring this particular or decentralize the seaport. Yet the one in Lagos, is what Bola Ahmed Tinubu went to UK to still rehabilitate and sign memorandum of understanding. In full details, as you could see on your screen, the Ohaneze Youth Council has condemned the Nigerian government's £747 million port rehabilitation agreement with the United Kingdom, describing it as a further indication of the marginalization of the Southeast region. In a press release recently, they went as far as stating that this is a clear marginalization and they criticized the deal signed by the upgrade of Lagos Port, warning that the continued neglect of seaport infrastructure in Igbo-dominated areas could deepen separatist sentiment. These were the things Mazi Nnamdi Kanu stated. The agreement reportedly signed at Lancaster House covers the modularization of facilities at the Apapa Port and Tinkan Island Port. It was witnessed by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and the wife Oluremi Tinubu. According to the statement, Nigerian's Minister of Finance Wele Edu signed on behalf of the federal government and other persons. Now, the council urged that the focus on Lagos Port ignores what it described as historically viable maritime locations in the southeast, including Ose Akwa, Ose Moto in Iyala and Oguta, Nzumini Blue Sea in Abia State, and Ozizia Beach in Ebonyi State. They started listing out a lot of places where the seaport should be located in southeast. Iguayaka claimed that the Oseakwa Osemoto Axis, located along the Orashi River, possesses a natural depth suitable for a modern seaport and lies closer to the Atlantic Ocean compared to Lagos Port. He alleged that the project, initially proposed during the colonial era, was abandoned in favor of Lagos-based infrastructure. The group further linked what it termed systematic neglect of infrastructure in the region to the growing agitation of Biafra, which led Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, to carry out this course, and that is the more reason why he's still in custody. So the neglect of these seaports in Igbo land, where they named all of them, is a bridge of showing that the Igbos are quite marginalized, and these are the things Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has clamored for as we speak. And it is quite unimaginable that this thing is actually happening. Yet they say this man committed what we call crime. Now, when he stated that they should show him the crime or the law at which he was convicted, till date, Motosho has not done that. I'm going to leave you with the rest of the video for you to understand and see that the marginalization a lot of persons have glamored and stated that is actually coming to the Igbo land is quite unbelievable. And at this point, even Peter Obi went as far as retracing that Nigeria can make more money from agriculture than oil if our system is working. Listen attentively to Peter Obi where he addressed the press conference in Kaduna recently. Watch, and when we come back, we'll wrap up.
Of a united Nigeria. You have to talk about wealthy community of this country. You talk about Kaduna. This is one state, one city, where you used to have the Muslims, the Christians, live as one. Everybody wanted to be part of Kaduna. By coming here, building their home, living in peace, in unity, secure. Today, it is not like that. Kaduna has become a hotspot of one of the insecure Nigeria. As you know, we because he recently been mentioned as one of the terrorist countries. And I think all you hear in Kaduna is bad news. They are either kidnapping these people or doing that. That is what we want to reverse. We want Kaduna to go back to what it used to be, a peaceful modern society. A place where our farmers used to go to their farms to join. There's a reason why Nigeria Food Bank of Industrial Headquarters in Kaduna. It is because we believe that we can do more, make more money from agriculture than we make from oil. And that we are going to rebuild that bank and ensure that it does what it's supposed to do. We want to work with the people of Kaduna in doing that. And I will start by holding hands with those of you from the governor to all those who are going to be in government here to do that. I assure you, like I've told my brother and family, we want presidents and people who want governors and the people who have capacity to move around. So when there's a situation, they'll come and visit Kaduna, see things for themselves. We want to end division in Nigeria. We don't want to hear issue of tribe or religion. Because as I say every day, no tribe buys bread cheap. And no religion buys bread cheap.